Well, week one, we learn a whole lot about some of these teams that did not get tested, but week two is where what we learned can be applied or fixed. And Texas and Michigan have a big game here to be able to fix all of their issues from week one, but also utilize those strengths that we had all learned about as a college football community. If you guys are new around here, I'm Colin Bashigal, the host here. You can find me over on TikTok at Bash's CFB Show. Go and look that up and certainly leave a like. And if you like this video, you can also subscribe if you want to see more videos like this. So today we got the Michigan Wolverines and the Texas Longhorns preview, talking about this game this weekend that all offseason has been built up to be a monumental game. Now, on the Texas side of things, they come into this game having a whole lot more confidence in their wide receiver core. You saw great things from young players like Jonte Cook or Ryan Wingo, the true freshman. DeAndre Moore looked really good. And then you add in all those transfers who played pretty well. Bond played well. Golden looked like an absolute freak show. And not even to mention the fact that Silas Bolden hardly played and didn't get the ball in his hand too much. If he did at all, I can't even recall a single time he had the ball. But the one thing about this Texas offense is with Quinn Ewers working with the best offensive line in America, he didn't really get a lot out of the run game. Like, they ran the ball well, but they did not run it great. And you were hoping that with that offensive line, they would be able to dominate on the ground, even without C.J. Baxter, and they were not able to do it. Now, Jaden Blue, he's still a good player. He's going to get his, even against a very tough front in the Michigan Wolverines. They do have lockdown pass defense, though. Like, if you saw how much different Malik Muhammad and Derek Williams Jr. looked this year from last year, and then you add in the transfer of Andrew Mukaba from Clemson, who was really good both in the run game and in pass, they're pretty dangerous back there. I think there are a little bit of concerns in the run game, but nothing too crazy. Like, I doubt they're going to allow the big play, and they're really athletic. They can run sideline to sideline, but gap discipline, staying gap sound, that is going to be important, especially for a game like this against an opponent that really wants to run the ball. But that athleticism that they have in the front seven, it shows up in the pass rush. Their pass rush, specifically with Trey Moore and Burke, they are really dangerous. Real dangerous. Now, on the other side of things, Michigan, their defense is really elite. And we already know that, as they're going to get a really good run defense headlined by the defensive tackles holding it down with Mason Graham and Kenneth Grant, but also the athletic freak that is Jayshon Barham. And then the ability too, by the way, for the DBs to be able to fit in the run game, like Will Johnson and Makari Page can lay the lumber a little bit. And the edge rushers, Josiah Stewart, man, he was so physical in the run game against Fresno State. The pass defense also shuffles around a little bit, like when you're talking about the secondary, moving pieces around. You saw a lot of guys like Zeke Berry, Jair Hill came into the game and played a lot. Amir Hall played a lot. Jaden McBurrows. Then you had Miles Pollard come in a good bit. I doubt you're going to see Will Johnson off the field for as long of a stretch as he was against Fresno State, but you will see these other guys rotate in even if Will Johnson stays there at those other two corner spots. On the offensive side of the ball, this is where it gets ugly for Michigan because that pass offense outside of Colston Loveland really struggled. So Davis Warren, I think, has to show in this game a big moment that he can manage the game pretty well and make good reads, because if you watch it back, he did not make good reads. He did not make good decisions. Even if your arm talent's going to be limited, if you are able to make good decisions against the defense, then you're going to be fine. But to me, there were times where Davis Warren not only lacked in the arm talent, but he also lacked in the decision-making ability. And at what point do you just decide to rip off the Band-Aid and say, screw it, let's go full Wildcat offense with Alex Orji? You're going to also see that the O-line definitely has their problems. The transfer from Northwestern, Josh Preby, he really struggled, and then the two centers struggled. Not to mention the whole line for the most part struggled. There wasn't a shining star the way you got it from last year's Zach Zinter. You didn't even get that. You didn't even get a Trevor Keegan level player on the offensive line in week 1, but that could obviously change. But quality of play is going to come from the tackle spot specifically, because you had Josh Preby, the guard, really struggle on one side, and then the center, you were shuffling it around. Michigan was really, really shuffling it around to the point where they saw both Dominic Giudice and also Greg Crippen in there rotating in and out. Now, they mostly went with Giudice. They let him play through his struggles a little bit more. But rotating your offensive lineman, that's a red flag right there. The one thing I definitely did take away is what I had been saying all offseason and what ended up being the case. I was right. Kalel Mullings is running back 1. They went out and rolled out Donovan Edwards first, but when they needed to lean on Fresno State and drive down the field, they turned to Kalel Mullings. And Kalel Mullings had 15 carries for 92 yards, in comparison to Donovan Edwards, 11 carries for 27 yards. But I feel like Donovan Edwards is crucial as we talk about the path to victory for Michigan here. I think that Donovan Edwards needs to give us one of his splash plays, preferably for a touchdown. But he needs to give us one of those splash plays, one or two of them, for him to be able to get the ball in his hands and be the dangerous player. That is why they're going to keep giving Donovan Edwards 10 to 15 touches every single game to hope that he can break that one, even if he is going to average 2.6 yards per carry like he did. And honestly, like 1 yard per carry for most of the game. So that's what you want from Edwards. You also got to win that turnover battle and use field positioning both in turnovers but also special teams to your ability. And then you need to use Kalel Mullings as stability. Be ready for 3 yards in a cloud of dust with Kalel Mullings, because I feel like Donovan Edwards a lot of times is 0 yards and hardly any dust, while Kalel Mullings gives you that old-fashioned rundown. Basically, Michigan's going to win this game in the Iowa formula. I've heard other people talk about Iowa. This would be a good comparison, but Michigan is just more talented, especially on defense, than Iowa. Now for Texas, their wide receiver speed to me is a mismatch. I don't trust Zeke Berry and Jair Hill and Amir Hall. I meant Amir Hall. I don't trust that. And then this offensive line, they do match up with this Michigan defensive front. You get all these guys, this junior class, we all look back at that class, and they were the best offensive line class of all time. It was Kelvin Banks. It was Cameron Williams. It was DJ Campbell. Really freaking good players. Pair them with an upperclassmen like Majors and Connor. This is the best offensive line in America, in my opinion. And on the defensive side of the ball, just going up against that Michigan offense, like they have fast defense, can run sideline to sideline. Michigan lacks a pass game here. And Ewers has the arm talent to be able to make any throw in tight windows if this secondary for Michigan does overachieve. And finally, like road environment success is not foreign to Texas. Texas's 2 losses last year were both on neutral fields. And their toughest opponent that they played outside of the playoff in the regular season was Alabama on the road, and they won that ball game. I think that this is a close game at the end of it. I think Michigan's going to be trying to scrape and claw to keep themselves in this game. But I don't think Michigan is going to have the offense to keep up. They might be able to get one explosive play. I doubt even that. I think Texas has too much speed for that, and Michigan's not going to get that in the throw game. And I think that Texas knows that Michigan is not going to get that in the throw game. But Michigan's a tough team now. They got a great defense. They will win the field positioning battle. I bet you're going to see one Quinn Ewers interception in this ball game. Overall, though, I think Texas pulls this one out 21-13 in Ann Arbor. I love this to be a defensive showdown, but overall, I'm taking the better quarterback, better offensive coach, the better offense. It is 2024. Very rarely can you defense yourself to victory. Last season, Michigan somewhat did it, but they were able to get those flashes out of that offensive line and Blake Corum and J.J. McCarthy. You got plays. You got drives in every single game. I don't know if this Michigan team is capable of it. Let me know if I'm wrong in the comments down.